Have you ever laid in bed at 3 a.m. staring at the ceiling, your mind racing through 100 what-ifs? What if I'm wasting my life? What if I make the wrong move? What if I never figure it out? In a world that celebrates clarity and confidence, few people talk about the constant hum of overthinking, the quiet war we fight alone in our minds. Today's story isn't about someone who had it all figured out. It's about Michael, a man stuck between the comfort of a stable life and the torment of endless doubt, and how an ancient Stoic, quote, "read in the dead of night," shifted his entire path, not by changing the world, but by changing the way he saw it. If you've ever felt trapped in your own head, this story is for you. Take a breath, sit with me, grab a cup of coffee, and let's get started. The noise in our heads, sometimes the hardest battles are the ones no one sees, and often the enemy lives in our own heads. Michael Reynolds was 33 when the noise started to take over. It wasn't the loud, obvious kind. It was quiet, like a soft static in the back of his mind, present when he woke up and still there when he went to bed. It started when his boss asked him a simple question during their monthly review. "So, where do you see yourself in 5 years?" Michael laughed politely and answered something generic, but the question stuck. Like a seed planted in his brain, it began to grow, twisting through every part of his day. He had a solid job in tech, good salary, smart colleagues, decent benefits. Nothing dramatic but stable. That should have been enough. Yet the question poked at him like a thorn. Was this all there was? Was he wasting his potential? Should he quit and start his own business? Go back to school? Move cities? What if he made the wrong move? And so, the noise grew louder. Michael started waking up at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, thoughts racing like a runaway train. What if I stay and regret it in 10 years? What if I leave and fail miserably? What will people think? Am I a coward for staying or reckless for wanting to leave? He Googled every career change success story and every failure story too, just in case. His YouTube history turned into a loop of motivational videos, self-help gurus, TED Talks, and productivity hacks. His browser had 27 open tabs, none of which ever brought peace. People around him noticed something was off. He smiled less. His energy dipped. His girlfriend Amanda gently asked if he was okay. He said he was just tired. But the truth was, he was trapped in a cage of his own making. One night, in a haze of insomnia, Michael came across a quote by Marcus Aurelius. "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Something about that line hit him like a brick. He sat up in bed and read it again and again. He had no idea who Marcus Aurelius was, but at 3:43 a.m., he felt like the man understood him more than anyone else. The next morning, Michael dove headfirst into Stoic philosophy. Not in the performative way social media sometimes does it, with cold showers and alpha posturing, but in the quiet, thoughtful way the old philosophers meant it. He read Epictetus, Seneca, and more of Aurelius. He learned that overthinking wasn't just a modern curse, it was a human one, and people had battled it for centuries. Stoicism didn't tell him to just be happy or follow his passion. It said, focus on what you can control. Let go of what you can't. Do the work in front of you with clarity and presence. Accept that no path is guaranteed, but your response, that's always yours. For the first time in months, the noise inside his head didn't disappear, but it softened, like a storm that had passed, leaving behind a strange kind of calm, reframing the decision. Instead of obsessing over the perfect decision, Michael asked himself a different question. What kind of person do I want to be, regardless of the outcome? He stopped chasing the fantasy of certainty and perfection. No job would give him peace if he didn't bring that peace with him. He began journaling each morning, something simple, just a few lines about what was in his control that day and what he needed to let go. He stopped looking for the one career that would fix his life and started focusing on the skills he wanted to build. He spoke to mentors, not to find answers, but to learn how they made peace with their choices. And when his boss asked again, a month later, "So, any thoughts on your 5-year plan?" Michael didn't give a rehearsed answer this time. He smiled and said, "I'm focused on showing up fully today. I think the rest will follow." His boss looked surprised but nodded. A few months later, Michael did make a change, not out of panic but out of purpose. He moved into a new role within the same company, one that allowed him to mentor junior developers, which he found deeply rewarding. He also started a blog, quietly sharing his journey with overthinking and stoicism. The blog didn't go viral. He didn't quit his job and become a guru, but he did receive emails from strangers thanking him. People who, like him, had spent nights battling the noise in their own heads. And that mattered, because in a world that often celebrates loud victories, big leaps, massive wins, dramatic turnarounds, Michael learned to appreciate the quiet ones. The morning he woke up without anxiety. The afternoon he helped someone solve a bug without snapping. The night he went to bed without wondering, what if? What Stoicism teaches about overthinking. The Stoics never promised a life free of worry, but they offered tools to live better with it. They taught that peace isn't the absence of noise. It's the choice to return to clarity over and over again. Overthinking is often our desperate attempt to control a future that isn't ours yet. But as Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Don't let your reflection on the whole sweep of life crush you. Don't fill your mind with all the bad things that might still happen. Stay focused on the present situation and ask yourself, why is it so unbearable? Why can't I endure it?" Michael didn't stop overthinking forever. No one really does. But he learned to see the thoughts, acknowledge them, and gently let them go. And in that quiet space, life felt lighter. Not perfect, but real. If you're reading this and the noise in your head feels overwhelming, if you're trying to figure out the right decision, fearing the worst, if you're stuck between staying and leaving, building and quitting, hoping and doubting, take a breath. Ask yourself, what do I actually control right now? What kind of person do I want to be, regardless of which path I take? And how would I live today if I knew that no choice could guarantee certainty? The answers might not come quickly, but the courage to ask them, that's where it begins. Final note. Michael's story isn't unique, it's yours, mine, all of ours. In a world addicted to overthinking, the most rebellious act is to act anyway, to choose presence over paralysis, to let go of needing to know everything, and to simply live the next right moment, not perfectly, but bravely. One clear breath at a time. If this story sparked something in you, a quiet fire, a moment of stillness, or the courage to take one step closer to who you really are, then you're in the right place. We're building a space for thinkers, dreamers, and doers, for those who seek depth in a world full of noise. If that sounds like you, hit the like button, drop a comment to share your thoughts or your own story. I'd love to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe, because this is just the beginning. There's so much more to come. See you in the next one.